Hey everybody, welcome to today's Sunday Marathon. This is, as usual, a big show, and I do want to warn you all as well. I don't ask these questions, you do, and I answer them honestly and to the best of my ability. So if you find the answers offensive, I apologize. But my goal is to help people, not to lead them down a garden path. So let's jump in. Today we'll talk about my process again of finding winners and dealing with FUD and attackers that I've dealt with for 4 years. It goes on and on. We'll look at some Bitcoin growth potential for the next 4 years, by the way. Coincidence. We'll look at Microstrategy, Arb, Bitcoin yield, Sept, Accretion, all that good stuff. A whole bunch of models. We'll look at some CleanSpark price targets, talk about miners again, how to buy certain cryptos. What else? A whole bunch. 2 questions on life insurance, believe it or not. Can you borrow against it? And what else you can do with it? Or insurance-related questions, too. So this will be very expanding for the mind, because that's what we like to do here. Thank you all. Thank you, Dude Travels and Sir Winston and the whole gang and the mods in the chat. Let's not waste any more time. And of course, I'm just a guy on the internet. This is not financial advice. This is edutainment, and has been since day one. And all the questions come from the team and Patreon. Thank you all. First of all, let's look at the market for I never rarely do this, but Bitcoin's looking really strong. It's the weekend. The markets have been nuts. On Monday, Solana was trading in the 160s. Today, it's above 270. It hit near over 290 last night. Bitcoin over 106. And it got half of cryptos actually red, but a lot of green spots too. So markets are good. And we have to talk about why the markets are good. Again, I don't want to ruffle any feathers. This channel is all about alpha, so I'll preface it with that. But let's get into it. First of all, the first question is from Luciano P. New member, but watching your YouTube for a very long time. I was wondering, what is your prediction for Microstrategy top? Not the value, just the timeline versus Bitcoin top. And are they running in the same line? As we all know, when bear market starts, Bitcoin will go down and Microstrategy too. So I'm trying to figure out when to sell my stock. Better to pay taxes versus have the 50% drop. Let me know your opinion. This is a great question. And it's one that I've been hinting for a long time. We are 2/3 the way through the bull market. But something is different this time around. And let me try and explain it with this simple little chart and why. Although we spent years building tools to identify tops and bottoms, this time is a little bit peculiar, and it can be explained in this simple chart. First of all, this is the Bitcoin growth per president. And there's a very funny thing that happens with Bitcoin. It follows presidential cycles. 4-year cycle. Typically, when Bitcoin started, there was a new president, and on and on and on, which is kind of bizarre. But what I really want to break out here is the performance of Bitcoin during these cycles, which is what makes it very interesting. So when we look at this chart for a second, this chart shows you how Bitcoin's value has grown during different presidential terms. It starts fresh at the beginning of each term to make it easy to compare. Shout out as well to the Rational Root for this beautiful chart, which I am using, and I have vandalized a little bit, but that's okay. So the point of all this is, if you look, the first cycle, wow, there was no hindrance, as the Rational Root says. There was nobody trying to kill crypto. And the second administration during crypto's life, the Trump administration, there was no hindrance. During the third one, under a guy called Biden, there was a lot of hindrance. The SEC, Elizabeth Warren's anti-crypto army, Chokepoint 2.0. I mean, the hits kept coming. We'll talk a lot about hits. But what's interesting about this is there will be no hindrance this time around. In fact, there could be the opposite. There could be a ton of support for crypto, as we've seen over the weekend. And the new team in charge, wow. We have Gary Gensler gone. We have the head of the FDIC gone. We have the head of the FTC gone. And now we have a whole bunch of new people like Paul Atkins and others, Bassett, and you got David Sachs, yada, yada. I mean, it's going to be crazy. Now, while Bitcoin may not grow as fast as it did in previous cycles, it could It could, and I'll explain why in two reasons. One, Bitcoin is harder than ever before. Okay, it is scarcer than ever before, and now it's a bona fide asset class. And two, the new government supports Bitcoin. So could we really kick off? The answer is, it won't take a lot to send this thing to the moon. If certain things happen, like strategic Bitcoin reserve, continued adoption, another 40 billion from the ETFs, Saylor continues to buy, then things get bonkers. So that's the first chart. Second chart. Now, I can't tell you when. I can tell you if we follow historic cycles. Means we have probably 8 to 9 months left. But if this new administration is very supportive of crypto, which it all looks like it will be, and the whole administration from top to bottom across all the different departments of regulation, etc., and to make the US the crypto capital of the world, wow, things could kick off. But in the meantime, let's look at our top and bottom indicator. So you can see here, we are orange, big dip, despite the price being over 106K. As I speak, we have yet to hit dark orange and we have yet to hit red. When we hit dark orange and red, then we should start getting concerned, but none of that is showing up right now. We are far from overheated, far from overvalued, which tells me we have a long way to go. And this model is based on 21 different on-chain metrics that are weighted in a composite score that are driven off a bunch of activity. And we spent years analyzing historical cycles and how you can tell when things are getting very hot. A whole bunch of stuff. So I still have a lot of confidence in this model and we are fine for now. So the question is when? Not sure. 9 months? Or we could go up forever just as gold did after the gold ETF was launched. We shall see. The difference between gold and Bitcoin, Bitcoin's a lot harder, a lot scarcer, and it's so finite. And the long-term holders are 70% done selling. So there's not a lot to get your hands on if the big money comes. And that's why we're seeing game theory happen all over the place. I could write 5 articles a day on game theory across the planet. I should do that actually in my spare time. I don't have any. That's why I'll never reach out to you one-on-one. Anybody that does is a scammer. Let's get into the next question. Thank you for that one. This is from Greg. I'm curious how Michael Saylor deleting his Bitcoin keys from MicroStrategy down the road is a good thing. How can they use or leverage it at the point if it's locked in perpetuity to the blockchain? Doesn't that make sense if value null, if it can be moved, sold, transferred, or otherwise? Sounds like maxi-madness given their current business model. What am I missing? Thank you. So I think there could be, I don't know, unless I'm misinterpreting the question, there could be a slight confusion here across things that Michael Saylor has hinted at. And I'll try to break down the philosophy as to why. First of all, regarding MicroStrategy keys, there is no public or verified information suggesting that Michael Saylor intends to delete or lock away the keys from MicroStrategy's Bitcoin holdings. MicroStrategy. The MicroStrategy business model involves holding Bitcoin as a corporate asset, not locking it away permanently. And the company uses these assets for various financial strategies, collateral for debt, hedge against inflation, as part of financial jiu-jitsu, as I call it, etc. Now, on the other hand, on Saylor's personal keys, Saylor has made statements that could be interpreted as him planning to hold his personal Bitcoin in perpetuity. Post an X, speculation, all the type of stuff, things he said in interviews. And, you know, he said he will never sell his Bitcoin. He has, I think, about 11,000 Bitcoin himself, or maybe 13,000, somewhere around there. I can't remember exactly. I have it noted somewhere. But this is more about his personal investment philosophy rather than anything else. As he says, he has no wife, no children. He wants to build a legacy of education, free education for the world. And what he does with his Bitcoin, maybe if he follows Satoshi's vision, Satoshi, I believe Saylor is thinking like Satoshi, lost coins only make everyone else's coins worth slightly more. Think of it as a donation to everybody. Remember, there will never be more than 15 million Bitcoin. So when you hear 21 million, it's absolutely fake. God dang, I think Mike told me how to shut that thing off. I forgot to. It's a new computer and I have to. Anyway, sorry about that little disturbance. So that is that question. Now, the next question ties into that question too, and the previous question regarding tops and bottoms. It looks to me like MicroStrategy peaks before Bitcoin. The excitement of Bitcoin climbing plus leverage sends MicroStrategy deviations above its holdings sooner than the local tops of Bitcoin. Is this true? So this is a little bit different. Let's analyze MicroStrategy carefully, because that's what I've been doing since 2020. And there's a reason for this. Let's look first of all at the MicroStrategy Bitcoin pair chart. We'll pull out a few little observations from this. First of all, the red line is the 200-day moving average. Second of all, blue is the trend of where it's going. It's going up and to the right. And yes, there are violent deviations. But why? Okay, this is MicroStrategy divided by Bitcoin. Why does MicroStrategy keep outperforming Bitcoin? The answer is this. MicroStrategy sats per share. This is the accretion model, or Bitcoin yield, as Michael Saylor calls it. Every week for the last 12 weeks, he has been buying Bitcoin, and he will continue to do so. Okay? He will, as he says, buy the top forever. But every time he issues shares or debt or preferred stock or whatever else, financial jujitsu-wise, to buy Bitcoin, every share gets more Satoshis. Okay? This red line is a trend line from the beginning. I've been in it since the beginning. And every share I have from the very beginning, I still have, with the exception of a very, very small sale I made at the very end of the year for a tax reason. Now, this here shows you the number of Satoshis per share. Currently today is 159,341. If you go back to the very beginning, it was 22,000. So right now you get a lot more Satoshis per share. But not only that, the value of these Satoshis is an awful lot higher than it was in 2020. So hopefully people understand this simple model. Every time he buys and the NAV premium is positive, you get more Satoshis per MicroStrategy share. Okay? And that is the key. Last year, he did about 86% yield. This year, he'll do 30, 40, 50%, maybe another 80%. And that will be reflected here. And I'll update this model again tomorrow as well. That's the second chart. The third chart is this. This is MicroStrategy Bitcoin pair on the ATR model. And you can see very clear buy and sell signals, tops and bottoms, support and resistance levels, etc., etc. And right now, the trend is so strong, it's showing nothing but strength, except for at the very top there where there was a little sell signal to exit the spike. The other chart is ARB. This ARB model, ARB Cloud we call it, has been around for many, many years now. Very few people still understand it, but just over the last month, you had 10 buy and sell opportunities. When you go above the cloud, you sell MicroStrategy for Bitcoin. When you go below the cloud, you buy. You buy MicroStrategy. You sell your Bitcoin, you buy MicroStrategy. And then off, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And there we are. It's the best things in life are simple things. And that's how you can make a ton of money and build your bag as well. So hope that helps. There is no rhyme or reason as to the performance. Does it precede a bump in Bitcoin price or not? Not in all cases. And also remember, every week, Saylor is ATMing a little bit as well. Again, giving you more Satoshis per share. The only thing you have to do is just wait. Wait and be patient. And I've proven as well that if he continues, even as recently as yesterday, if he adds 15% Bitcoin yield every year for 10 years, your one Bitcoin turns into about 3.6 or 4.6 Bitcoin. I can't remember the exact number. I shared it in yesterday's video, and that's all you need to know. Okay? Patience is a virtue. Taxes are an issue too, because our cost basis is so low in this puppy. The tax you get hit with to sell is murderous, at least for me. So the thesis of selling and taking profits might change, unless, of course, it's to rotate into a faster horse. Then you can get away with paying the taxes. So I hope that helps. Next question is from Commando Corey. Thank you for your service, Commando. I love and appreciate all the time and energy you devote to we, the community. Thank you. I've been pondering if I should borrow against my universal life policy at the available rate of 5.5% annually to take advantage of the infinite money glitch. My military disability status prohibits IRA contributions, so it would be a retail investment. It feels like it is a strong calculated risk. What do you think? Well, once again, thank you, Commando, for your service. Let's break down the risks and timing And I always say it's very dangerous to borrow to speculate, but you're right at that cusp of 5.5%, where it's like, okay, money's debasing at 14%. Are you going to do better if you can borrow at 5%? The answer is probably. But there are risks. Timing is the big risk right now. We are getting close to the top of the bull, perhaps. And you need to make sure that you have a strategy that will return more than what you're paying in interest, i.e. way more than 5.5%. Okay? If your investments do not smoke this hurdle rate, you could end up losing money. Also, you need to always make sure you can pay your minimum payments, or else you can get called upon. And non-payment could lead to a policy lapse or a reduced death benefit. Not good either. Heaven forbid neither happen, but just pointing out the risks here. And make sure you maintain your military disability status as well, or else you could lose that too. And again, remember, market timing is key. Okay, very key. You don't want to buy the top of a volatile asset that could fall 50%. That's not good. But then again, your rate is low, and there are things that will do very well over the next 2 years, 3 years, I believe. Tesla, etc. Focus on the AI. Crypto is getting close to the end of the cycle. Perhaps. Go back to the very first section. Maybe not. Now, the benefits. First of all, liquidity. You get immediate access to funds without the need for any credit check or hassle of applying for a new loan, which is killer. And this is beneficial as well for seizing timely investment opportunities. Imagine we get a wick down to $70,000 in Bitcoin. Then I'd say, go get it. Go get it right away. And make sure as well you can know how to trade, how to invest in high return assets. Remember that hurdle rate, and this will increase your wealth. And the idea to use borrowed money to make investments that yield returns higher is fine, as long as you can make sure you can do that. Also, flexibility in loan repayments. I'm not sure of the exact details, but this will be a non-traditional loan, so there's probably no strict repayment schedule for policy loans. I don't know, I don't have life insurance or stuff like that, but you need to check that out too. Although the interest will probably, of course, accrue. Keep an eye on that too. And tax advantages, again, I'm not sure your tax situation. I'm not sure if these loans from life insurance policies, they're generally not taxable, but you have to dig into that as well. If it is tax efficient, then it's a very good deal. And again, you said no IRA contributions, so I'm not too sure about that either. But again, if you can find an asset that's very oversold and it's going to do very well over the next 2 to 3, 5 years, do it. 5.5% is a great rate to borrow money at. But remember, do not buy the top of a market, because that can be brutal. Unless, of course, you can wait 4 or 5 years for things to recover. And typically, a bear market lasts a year, so bear that in mind. Now, this next question is a little bit spicy, and in full disclosure, I have no idea who this person is. But again, the question comes up. Hey, James, can you make a rebuttal video on why you believe the analysis this YouTuber made on Sol is or isn't correct? Thanks a bunch. You have no idea. For over 4 years, I've been talking about Solana, that it's going to be the ETH killer. It now is the ETH killer. I spent years identifying it early and getting in hard. That's the way I do things. And I'm going to walk through that process. But full disclosure, no idea who this person is. But also in full disclosure, people for years have been sending me these, Solana's a scam video, blah, blah, blah. By the way, yesterday I made a Solana video that has 50 data points in it as to why it's not a scam and why it is by far the leading asymmetric bet in crypto. But you can check that out if you want. Yesterday, which, by the way, has been watched 100,000 times in about 13 hours or so. So anyhow, let's get into this one. First of all, I will say I don't watch crypto YouTube, okay? I want to keep my mind pure and clean and objective. All I do is rely on data, okay? Very important. And I have a 3-step process. And I'm fortunate to have a great team to be able to invest a lot of money in a lot of models and processes and procedures to identify things. And then we share them with the world, so you all benefit. First step of how I find crypto winners. 1, crypto compendium. Boom. It is the first step of identifying if you are in a winner or a loser. And it has been so good for years. This was first built in early 2021. and now it is a very refined engine. Next step is the SCP Profiler. My big focus is layer 1s, layer 2s, finding the winners and losers. Same thing, that helps you find the winners and losers. And step 3, no matter what I look at, no matter what asset it is, I do tons of quant and modeling. We create tons of dashboards that show us exactly where things are going. And I promise you, nobody matches our dedication to modeling. Nobody matches the money we've spent on it. And nobody has consistently done so much for 4 years straight. Nobody, okay? This is what makes this channel very different. Now, getting back to this person, his name is Max. All right, I honestly never heard of him, don't know who he is, but he has double the subscribers I have. So, over 1 million subscribers. So his channel is twice the size of mine. Okay, good. Now, you can tell an awful lot by the thumbnails of a YouTuber. So rather than watch a video, I can already tell you who he is by just looking at his thumbnails. And I give him credit for not having any open mouth like many of the other YouTubers, which is great. But right here at the top left, you see Solana is a scam over a month ago, 67,000 views. And he's pointing out it's a scam with a big trap. But let's dig a little bit deeper. Oh, whoops. I was wrong about the open mouth. He does have an open mouth. Whoops. Anyway, he says, just looking through the thumbnails, another one is that's Solana logo right there. I can see it. And Cardano and XRP is going to do 100x. And like, these are just clickbaity, stupid titles. You know, turn $20 into $1 million. But he did say Solana's going to 50x. But now he's saying it's a scam. Now I'm confused. What is it? Okay. And again, no offense to Max. I know people are desperate for views. Maybe that's a good way to get them. I don't know. I don't play that game. Let's look at 2 other thumbnails. All right. This is, he seems a lot of XRP and Cardano videos. Urgent, XRP to 10x in 2025. If XRP is to 10x in 2025, it would have a $3.2 trillion market cap, nearly double the size of Bitcoin. That is just illogical in my small brain. And I believe, and I've been saying since 2021, that Cardano is dead. I've been right about that too. Just look up the data, and he says it's going to surge. So, we're very different in terms of the assets we look at. I didn't look at his Cardano was a scam video, but this is interesting. He's over 1 million subs. I have half. He gets 67,000 views in 1 month. I get 100,000 views in 18 hours. So people aren't watching his stuff like they're watching mine. And in terms of video comparisons, I had 3.25 million views in the last 30 days. He had 348,000. So I get 10x more views. Again, maybe people are getting better at discerning between good stuff. And he gets, I had to run some statistics for giggles. He gets 0.067 views per subscriber in 1 month. I get 0.2 views per subscriber in 18 hours. But in my defense too as well, we've spent 4 years blocking scammers and toxic people from the channel as well. I don't care about subscribers. I don't care about views. Okay? So if you wonder why you don't see my channel, it's because you probably said something nasty to me. So don't step into my house and call me an asshole, because you will be blocked. And I pay a team to do that, by the way, too. I don't even do it myself. So thank you all for coming. That's not the end of the video, by the way, but this is just, be careful. When non-bag holders see a horse running far into the distance, they get very upset. And we'll talk more about XRP now in a second. So again, I didn't watch the video. I don't care. I keep my mind pure. No drugs, no crazy content, no nothing. Let's go. Google account. James, what if? Any suggestions do you have for reading political tea leaves to invest in crypto? By the way, this is again another political hot topic. Boy, do I read political tea leaves. I spent 20% of my time for the last 3 months before the election making sure there would be a certain outcome, or else I need to just sell. Okay, so that is, first of all, I spend a lot of time reading tea leaves, because it's important. It is so important. I always say politics and crypto, etc., are inextricably linked. Again, I did warn you, spicy. Hope people don't get offended. But this, if you care about money and investing, you need to look at what's going on. You need to keep your head out the window. All right, with that being said, they seem to be very close to the new administration, that is the XRP team, and as an American-based company, they may receive special treatment in crypto regulation and may even get a zero capital gains tax designation because it's an American-based company. Is politics more important than metrics in capital allocations? Would you take a chance on this zombie? This is a great question. A really good question and a very smart question. Because sometimes, actually, no, not sometimes, all the time, there are many things in crypto that are completely illogical. And I have never understood XRP since day one. Okay? Let me explain why. First of all, 5 simple little reasons, maybe 6, depending on how I read them. Very bad tokenomics, literally 50 billion tokens in escrow. They dump every quarter. It's horrible. The distribution is centralized. A huge amount come out all the time. And this centralization can lead to concerns about manipulation or flooding the market. That's how Ripple is funded, by dumping XRP tokens on retail for the last 8 years. And there's inflation risk. Again, a huge part of what gives it a very bad compendium score is this inflation risk, i.e. continuous dumpage of XRP into circulation. And also the technology is outdated, lack of innovation. XRP's core technology, while functional for its purpose, hasn't seen any upgrades or innovations in many, many years. Also, I could go into it, but ask Marty Party on that. He gave me the full download. They also have no moat or unique selling proposition, which is very important for my investments. And competition, you could argue, there is tons of competition for what they do. And finally, it's not a true blockchain. It's basically a centralized ledger. Okay? It's very different. 20-year-old technology, yada, yada, yada. No innovation. But it's doing well, which is bizarre. Now, I have another thing as well. And for a long time, I always talk about how during a bull run, if, I'll pull this chart up so you can see, if during a bull run, things are languishing, say 60 to 80% away from their previous all-time highs, it means they are zombies. This is what gave birth to the ATR model. Now, if you look at where XRP is today, it's basically down from where it was 7 years ago. Okay? So which means, call it, you're almost at break even, but you're not quite there yet. But imagine holding this thing for 7 years and going nowhere. And Bitcoin does 4,000%. Where would you want to park your money? And the other thing that I love about this model too, if you look at the things that have the smallest blue bars, number 1 is Solana, number 2 is Bitcoin. Okay? These are the standout winners. Okay? They're at their all-time highs or just shy of it. And that's a very, very important one. But so is XRP. But XRP is just, the market cap is ridiculous for what it does. Let me show you another proof point that nobody does the work on. Okay? Nobody. But we do. And this is one where I share a lot because it's one of the easiest metrics to understand, one of 60 we have. This is basically fully diluted market cap divided by the number of daily transactions or daily users, or you can pick either or whatever. Okay, you can see here on this chart of all these players, layer 1s, layer 2s, Cardano is the most expensive, 555K. But if you look at the XRP fully diluted market cap, okay, they have $3.8 million per user. That's 7 times more expensive on a per user basis, assuming they have 82,000 users, which I pulled from data today, and the number of transactions is typically 1 per user, etc. Again, it's 7 times more expensive than Cardano. It makes Cardano look cheap, which I think is a zombie coin. And Sol, as a comparison as well, is 1,900 times cheaper. So again, who knows what all this means? It's just data. I don't understand XRP. And I've analyzed it for years. And I wouldn't take a flyer on it. I stick with the winners. I follow the data. I follow my process. Because that has worked so well. As you all know. Anybody who's been following me for 4 years knows how well it's worked. So that's where we are. Hope that helps. did warn you it's going to be a spicy one today, but I don't make up the questions. You guys do. This one is from Loose Change. And another spicy one. Oh my goodness, you guys are killing me. Loose Change. I'm a big believer in Tesla and all its tailwinds, but I cannot help but be worried that the increasing political risk Elon seems to be taking on. Folks don't stay on DJT's good side for too long. And now the UK, Europe squabbles, and they hate Elon too, yada yada. Is this seen as a risk, or at least a lid on the Tesla stock price? So, one little key investment lesson that I've learned all my life: you can spend all your time, all your worries worrying about 1% chance of things happening, when maybe even if they do happen, the impact is not that large. And this is why I always say, scared money don't make money. This guy is a Floridian college football coach, trainer, and he coined that phrase, and it is a brilliant phrase. Again, if you spend your life worrying about 1% chances, you miss out on all opportunities, okay? Everything is risky. Everything has a 1% chance of going to zero. Bitcoin, Solana, Tesla, all that stuff. But don't let that spook you out. That's why you diversify. That's why 95% of my holdings are in 4 things, but they're all AI and crypto. That's it. So that's my level of diversification, which is pretty intense, but that's also how you make money too. High concentration bets. And let your winners ride. Very important. Now, next part of this question, I'm going to answer it in 3 ways. First, scared money don't make money. 2, Elon and Tesla and SpaceX, etc., have survived the most extreme lawfare ever in the history of the world. This administration, I don't know if it was the guy you see sitting there in the chair. I honestly don't think so. I think it's people behind the curtain. I don't think he had any clue what he was doing. But the Biden administration was completely weaponized. And Biden, apparently, publicly ordered 11 federal agencies to investigate Elon Musk. 11 agencies. Also, they paid $300 million to Reuters, who won a Pulitzer Prize for their relentless attack pieces against Elon Musk. Okay, this is how propaganda and media work. But now the truth is surfacing, which is great. And right in his final farewell, Joe Biden declares war on Elon Musk once again in a very bizarre farewell address. Dangerous concentration of power in the hands of a few ultra-wealthy people. And the day before, he puts a medal around George Soros's neck for the Medal of Freedom or something crazy like that. I mean, you cannot make this up. Okay, getting back to my point. Sorry. Did warn you all. Off my soapbox. Hopefully, I don't remember what the next question is, but that's just crazy. He has survived that. Tesla has survived that, and they've thrived. Imagine what happens now when they don't have federal agencies hunting them down. It's going to be great. Third point, why I do believe this term is different, and this goes back to as well this chart. I mentioned at the very beginning, everything's tying together. No hindrances. In fact, I wanted to add some rocket boosters here, but I couldn't. We could be going into a whole new era for Bitcoin and for Tesla as well. Why I think this administration is different is as follows. First of all, the focus of the new leader of the free world, his now focus is legacy. He knows this is the last term in office. He wants to leave history, legacy, and he's focused on leaving that lasting legacy rather than immediate political gains. And I know people say, oh, what about this coin and everything else? He's got no time to do that. It's probably his son, Barron, or somebody else doing that behind the scenes. Who knows? I don't know. But this shift could mean prioritizing long-term reforms over short-term political victories, changing his whole advisory circle. I mean, we have a huge Silicon Valley influence. You got Peter Thiel, Mark Andreessen, Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy, all these people, all these world-class capital allocators. And yes, of course, I know there's good VCs and bad VCs, but trust me, these are the best capital allocators on the planet. They know how to make billions, and they know how to save money, and they know how to back fast horses. Also, this group brings a very different perspective on innovation, efficiency, economic growth. I made a recent post on Patreon about how warfare has changed. The military-industrial complex needs to change. The whole shift has to go away from aircraft carriers and fighter jets and submarines to AI and drones, okay? It's pretty clear that that's happening too. And the other elements there, smart folks, economic reforms, for example, he could promote a strategic Bitcoin reserve, which would be great for future debt 20 years into the future. Technology has changed so rapidly. Now, 3 people can do the job of 2,000 people with AI. Regulatory environment needs to stop because it's choking the country to death, just like you see happen in Europe as well. And the administration and the vice president, etc., are very young and innovative. They're all under 50, which is a far cry from the existing team that are all above 80. Anyhow, I think this association and all these changes could make for the best transformation of this country that we've ever seen in the history of the world. And it's funny because everything is changing as well at the same time. So why not change the government too? We'll see. So, hope that's the last spicy thing. And it's not. There's one more. Let's get into it. This is from Shanzi. Hi, James. Wondering if you were looking at doing an update on the Bitcoin miners. Recently, I heard about an article, JP Morgan's bullish outlook on the Bitcoin miners due to positive outlook with premium and Bitcoin hodl companies. Would appreciate your thoughts on the miners and if there's a change in your price targets for Bitcoin miners, especially CleanSpark. Thank you. Dr. Sauce, thank you for coming. This is a great question. And yes, the Minority Report comes out once a month. Miners, we have the models and everything else in the process. It will be coming out hopefully Friday. So watch for that if you want to know what the status is in Bitcoin miners, who wins, who loses. I've been using the same methodology at the beginning of time to identify the leading assets. And we'll see what's changed. Now, the other thing that we also do too to track all this stuff, and I don't know if the analysts do this, because you have to take into account dilution. Very important, as we talked about with XRP. This is our dilution model. This is the amount names have diluted since January 1st, 2024. Iris Energy, 169.9%. CleanSpark, 63.62%. By the way, Microstrategy is less than CleanSpark, 60.52%. And they are issuing shares like there's no tomorrow to buy a lot of Bitcoin, etc., etc. So you can see here, this is a very important thing that I don't know if the analysts take into account. Also, JP Morgan, they I don't know how good they are. I've seen them say things. They've been talking about the worst economic hurricane storm in the history of the world since 2023, and that never hit, of course. But in December 8th, 2023, JP Morgan downgraded CleanSpark from overweight to neutral. No price target. June 4th, JP Morgan maintained a neutral rating on CleanSpark. No target. August 23rd, 2024, JP Morgan maintained a neutral rating on CleanSpark. No target. December 10th, 2024, JP Morgan upgraded CleanSpark from neutral to overweight and target from 11 to 17. It's kind of crazy because when you look at the action of CleanSpark over the last 2 years, 2023 was good, 2024 was good only until the first part. Then the wheels came off because of things like dilution and that type of stuff. And also the miners, as I've always said, never allocate more than 5% to miners. I'm currently about 1.5% allocated to miners in my portfolio because everything else has gone to the moon. That's what happens. And also shedding a little bit of positions every now and again. But the other thing to look at is regarding CleanSpark, and I'll do a detailed price projection because as the price of Bitcoin moons, okay, if the miners can mine a Bitcoin, say at $56,000 or $76,000, and with the new FASB accounting laws, they could be making serious bank. Also, CleanSpark have over 10,000 Bitcoin right now. Let's check on the price of Bitcoin. I haven't seen it for a few seconds. Bitcoin, $106,250. Again, if they're mining at 76 grand or 56 grand, they're making a ton of money. And these guys, love them or hate them, they're the most effective and efficient miner. And yes, they do some things that I don't agree with, but that's okay. Now, the analyst targets from all of the analysts combined right now range between $22.22 up to $31.50. So, would they be right? I don't know. Could we hit $20? I believe it's possible. But we will need, for CleanSpark to hit $20, we need Bitcoin to go up another 14,000. I have said for a long time because of my models that once Bitcoin hits exactly that, sorry, getting distracted. Once Bitcoin hits 120,000, Clean Spark will hit $20. We'll see if I'm right, but we'll know more in the Minority Report on Friday. I got to figure out how to turn this bloody computer off so I don't get disturbed all the time. Next question. Smokin' Joe. Hey, James, what would the impacts be if multiple big insurance companies suddenly went bust? Wow. I like the way you think. And I think about this a lot too, especially in light of what happened in California. I'll go through this very fast because this doesn't pertain to the world, but maybe it does because certain catastrophes are hitting certain parts of the world, like Florida, California, maybe other places. We shall see. But let's talk about California for a second. Remember, California is the 5th biggest economy on the planet. Like it's bigger than Italy. It's bigger than huge countries. So put that in perspective. A lot of the major insurance companies are pulling out of the state, like State Farm, Farmers. They've been there for hundreds of years, and now they're just leaving. The Proposition 103 was a California rule made by the regulators and supported by the governor to limit the insurer's ability to raise rates. So when a government comes in and starts putting price controls on things, things break. Things break. Markets need to be free for them to work. When the government says, sorry, you can't increase your rates, what are the insurance companies going to do? They're going to say, if I stay here, I'm going to lose billions, so I'm going to leave. Bye. See you later. And that's what happens. Then they have another thing called the fair... well, this is kind of stunning. Over 10% of Californians, 10% of people that own homes have no home insurance. Okay? Nothing, because they can't afford it. Or they can't get it. And then they have a thing called the California Fair Plan, which was to fill the gap because all the carriers were leaving and there's no capacity. They're out of capacity. And the reinsurance company that backs them, that handles 95% of the risk, is probably out of business. I don't know. I'm just guessing that's possible. Also, the Fair Plan caps coverage at $3 million per home. Most of the homes in Malibu were $7 million plus. And Palisades, etc. Some were $45 million. What's $3 million going to get you? Maybe some new foundations? I don't know. It's not enough, and here I am on my soapbox again. Sorry about that. Anyway, if Fair Plan can't pay for claims, it will force lower risk areas to subsidize the higher risk ones. That's the way insurance works. That's why I think insurance is a big scam. You know, the good drivers pay for the bad drivers. That's an easy way to think about it. Also, high premiums are making coverage for California homeowners impossible. And the same thing is happening in places like North Carolina, Florida, because of hurricane risk, etc. So it's not good. What used to be a 1 in 1,000 year event is now 1 in 5 years, 1 in 10 years. And therefore, if you're covering $1 million, you can do the math on how much you need to charge to be able to make a profit. So it's scary. Now, back to your question. What is the impact? So if insurance companies go bust, property values will tank because most people have a mortgage on insurance. They won't be able to get mortgages. Therefore, the prices will fall and people will become cash buyers. And new construction will slow as well because developers won't be able to get insurance for their projects. Second, shares of insurance companies will also tank as well. Now, sorry, I gotta, this is an emergency. Hold on 1 second here. Meeting, give me 20 minutes. Hang on. Believe it or not, this is a California problem. Anyway, let me see. So, I do believe the market impact will be, that is an emergency, by the way, happening in California as we speak, but I will finish this video. Alternative risk financing, we need new AI-based insurance that has very specific pricing for very specific assets. And I believe anytime there's a huge market change, creative alternatives are born. And I think that has to come. The old days of painting with a broad brush and sharing prices across everybody is just ridiculous. And the third part, if insurance companies go bust, everybody will relocate, population will shift and move. You see that already after C-19, everybody moved to Florida. Now they can't afford property down there or can't get insurance. Now they're moving back up to New York, etc. Businesses will relocate as well, and governments will have to step in. It's a crisis problem. So that was the insurance story. Next one, a very quick question from Transcend. Hi, James. Thank you for what you do for us. If you live in the US, where's the easiest exchange to purchase AI16Z? Any quick steps for this would be greatly appreciated. You can go to Jupiter. You can go to Phantom Wallet. Always check your asset on Dex Screener. There's tons of places to do that and hang out in the community. There'll be many people that may even have better places to buy. And Ash L, a very final quick question. What is happening with the Solana SAGA 2 mobile? When did they actually get delivered? I ordered one last year, and I haven't heard anything since. I don't know. I know over 20,000 were pre-ordered in the first day. I have no idea when, but apparently it will be 2025. Just don't know when. And it'll probably come with a lot of NFTs that are worth a lot of money, or meme coins or whatever else. The last one, I did buy one, and I got a whole bunch of bonk, which I still have. And it's crazy to see what these things are valued at. And favorite part of the week too, thank you to the team that finds all these great places to donate to. This week we donated to the Peaceful Mountain Cat Sanctuary to help support their mission supporting feral, elderly, and sick cats, which is so cute. They are on, Michelle and her husband, they live on 70 acres, and they look after 120 cats. Most of them are in poor condition, elderly, blind, unwanted, sick, and we help pay for vet bills and cat supplies and other improvements to the sanctuary. So very cute. So that is that piece too. Next DCA Live is tomorrow morning, 7:30, 7:40 a.m. with the team, and hope you like the content. I'm going to do some quick questions from the team here as well, and sorry about all of that craziness. The story was how to find winners. And sorry about that little California emergency. 10 minutes. Okay. Thank you for the question. Oh, sorry about this. Oh, dear. Live TV. Shit happens, as I say. From Mr. Wynn. I got to blow this up because I can't even see. The font is so small. Stop texting me, for the love of God. Hi, James and team, and everyone here. Changed my life. I'm very grateful and will continue to support. Thank you so much out there in Vietnam. Appreciate you. I hope there's more people in Vietnam as well. From Max Greece. Hey, James. Tomorrow, sell the news. This is so funny you say that because I was chatting with Sanjay as well today about this. I think a lot of people expect a lot of stuff to happen on Monday, but not a lot can happen because the inauguration is Monday. That takes a lot of time. There will be executive orders. They are already drafted and written. One of them is for Bitcoin and crypto, which will help. But I think we may have to wait till Tuesday. And what they say and what they do, if it's an executive order, there's no action that's going to take place immediately. It takes time to put these wheels in motion. But if that executive order is in the positive and it's achievable, like by just having the script of a pen from the president to allocate, say, 10 billion to Bitcoin to get things started and move some of the existing reserve they have to an account, that would be a huge win unto itself. But don't worry, crypto's going to win anyway, okay? Gary Gensler's gone. David Sachs is the AI and crypto czar. See the pattern, AI, crypto? Yeah. So it's all happening. And it's all being directed by people that know what they're doing. So all good there. Looking at Bitcoin right now, it's 106,000. So it's like $2,000 from the all-time high. We're still looking very strong, ladies and gentlemen. And remember, crypto's violent. Bitcoin was under $90,000 a week ago. Now it's 106. Okay. Seatbelts, as I always say. A question from Sir Winston. A question for Just a Guy on the Internet. What are the first layer and layers you see for Sol and CYFRF? CYFRF is Sol's strategies. Thanks to the NFA. I'm not in a position to pull up my trading view on this computer that has all the models. It's a new computer, but I will share that on Patreon later. The layers that I would consider based on my risk tolerance and my profile. And by the way, I urge everybody to take a hard look at the profit-taking model. It's going to be key. The key in investing sometimes is selling early, not too late, not waiting for the top and then deciding to get out, because things can tank very fast. But we've made crazy gains, and it's time to maybe take some off the table. My personal preference anyway. So Sol Strategies has been insane. That's up 3,270% since September. 33x almost since September. It's absolutely bonkers. All you need every given year, by the way, is one of these winners, which this community got, which is great. But don't go chase too many winners. Wait for those perfect opportunities, because you just need one, and that changes everything, okay? So don't be desperate to try find them all the time. And if you do find one, try get in hard and early. But I will share the layers on that. And remember, Sol Strategies is a function of Solana, so it should open next week very strongly. Can't you just tell us? H1G, I don't know what that is. So, incident. Any concerns with Trezor's website, since hackers are everywhere here? For those who have cold storage, want to confirm the viability of this site long term. I saw something floating around regarding Trezor, and we had all the crap last year regarding Ledger. I'll have to look up into that and make a post again on Patreon later. I'm not in a position to tell you if it's good or bad. Hackers are everywhere. Remember, though, I'm sure for a hacker to be able to expose or get what they're looking for from a device, if they have access to Trezor, they can't do anything. Just like Trezor, the corporation itself, can't do anything. That's the beauty of cold storage. So I wouldn't fret too much about that. Adam Q, Sol 277. It's crazy. Again, it was in the 160s like on Monday or a week ago. It's just what a time. What a time to be alive. Yes, sir, Adam Q. Thank you as well. And thank you for your super sticker. I gotta blow this up. I can't read anymore. Andy, Bluegrass, Stoic, Brainman, Martello 45, Do Travels, Shark Lover, love sharks, and Signal 103, Super Soul Man, Brock, Alex Rogan, Dog One, Adam Q, Forrest M, Nippon Kiwi, got a Japanese New Zealander, love that, Anjo, Redrich, Dr. Sauce, Bottle of Red, Crypto Katana, and Tuesday's Dragonfire and Justice for All. Appreciate you all, everybody. Thanks for coming. Sorry about the emergency I have in California. I got to go deal with that right now. See ya. Bye-bye. And thank you to the mods in the chat and everybody else.